friends from the government and non-government sector, the academe, colleagues from other international organizations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good day. On behalf of Colombo Plan and its 28 member countries, it is an honor to be addressing you today on the 5th anniversary of the International Dignified Menstruation commemoration with the theme of the role of policymakers for advocating dignified menstruation in the era of 2023 agenda. Allow me to thank Ms. 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹𝗀, the founder and director of the Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation, for inviting me to grace this forum and share my thoughts on the matter. Director 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹 helped me understand how advocating for dignified menstruation is integral to ending sexual violence and child marriages, which is also this year's theme. Personally, the Dignified Menstruation Initiative helped me secure a better appreciation on the wide range of stigma and human rights concerns being experienced by women undergoing the usual menstrual cycle. Fortunately, lately, there have been wide discussions on the stigma associated with menstrual health and hygiene management among advocates, academic experts, humanitarian professionals, human rights, and global development specialists. The negative perception that a person who is undergoing this cycle is abnormal, impure, dirty, or sinful is a finding of many researchers that can translate to so many negative consequences. It is common to find communities where women and girls know little about their normal physiological development as they advance through life. Many learn about menstruation only when they reach puberty, which is often a frightening and confusing experience. In most communities, managing the menstrual cycle is usually guided by cultural and traditional practices handed down through generations. Women could easily spend 3 to 8 years menstruating over their lifetime, during which they might face menstruation-related exclusion, neglect, and discrimination. Gender inequality, traditional beliefs, extreme poverty, and humanitarian concerns can result in the menstruation process becoming a time of deprivation and stigma, which can undermine the enjoyment of fundamental human rights, specifically by menstruating women. Recent researches have made us aware that some constraints during menstruation are self-imposed, that menstruating women or girls may fear participating in activities like school, athletics, or social gatherings, resulting to a more restricted public life engagement. Women have been perceived as unclean and are not allowed by some communities to do everyday household chores. Another misconception is the idea that menstrual cycles diminish physical or emotional capacities of women, reinforcing gender inequality and creating barriers to certain opportunities. Access to safe bathing facilities and menstrual supplies, including those in impoverished school systems, prisons, and homeless shelters, are also a reality in some countries. And last but not the least, I think this is the most important consequence, menstruation is believed to be an indication that girls are ready for marriage or sexual activity, which leave them vulnerable to a host of abuses, including child marriage and sexual violence. Now, given this information and what we know about practices observed during this normal physiological cycle, we need to review policies and programs to address these concerns. As a person involved in policymaking myself in my country, in the Philippines, let me just say that a good policy based on critical information and evidence-based research is vital in the success of any program implementation. The policymaking process is supposed to be rational. There is a specific cycle followed to set the rules and regulations for any project or program. It is essential to reassess the public opinion, the economic conditions of the community, and the socio-cultural and political environment for which desired changes needs to occur. Good relationships with the community, the academe, the implementing institutions must be cultivated to improve situations and establish mechanisms to evaluate whatever interventions are provided, measure successes, and identify gaps. In the case of dignified menstruation, traditional misinformation and practices on the menstrual cycle is slowly but surely being addressed by governments and NGOs like the Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation. Wide agreements about what is required during menstruation is being recognized. Basic education about the menstrual cycle and how to manage menstruation without discomfort or fear must be provided. People who menstruate should also have access to health information and care, ensuring that they are able to make informed choices about how to manage their menstruation and enabling them to seek health services if they experience menstruation-related disorders. In addition, family members, communities, and community leaders should also be included in the advocacy activities to ensure changes in the perception and behavior can be sustained. Policymakers should make sure that the overarching health issues particular to women's and girls' bodies, including not only menstruation, but also pregnancy, childbirth, postpartum changes, and menopause, must not be overlooked by decision makers, educators, and even medical establishments. Initiatives like this activity we're having today should be emulated and sustained. I encourage all my colleagues in the field of development to fully immerse themselves in the advocacy of dignified menstruation and support rights-based programs for women. Again, my heartfelt congratulations to all those responsible for this activity. Rest assured that Colombo Plan will be with you, ensuring that the support will always be available to you. May we all see the day when women and communities all over the world experience and practice dignified menstruation. God bless us all.